leaders. So let's take a look at vision. Now, vision is the big idea, right? It's the main event. It's the idea of what you want to do with yourself, your team, your organization, your community, right? It's not only about what. Vision is also about how. Furthermore, vision is about what and how, and it also includes who. So when you're casting or sharing a vision, some good questions to ask yourself are these. Who will go with me? I love that one. Who will go with me? Another question is, who will I encounter along the way? Right? You may not know the names of those people, but you can expect that somebody, okay, or many somebodies, you're going to encounter them along the way. So who will I run into? Who will I encounter along the way? Another question is, who will I collaborate with, or who will I partner with? There's a wonderful African wisdom saying that goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And let me tell you, anything worth doing, any vision worth pursuing is worth pursuing. It's worth doing together. Now, here's a really cool thing about vision. You do not have to see the entire canvas, the entire vision all at once. In fact, if you do see the whole thing and it's crystal clear, get a new vision. That's right. Get a new vision. Because if you can see it and it's crystal clear, what you probably have is a goal and not a vision. Here's what I know. Your vision will change. It'll morph. It'll evolve as you move into it and as you move towards it. So naturally, it will keep morphing and shape-shifting and changing up along the way. So be open to what is revealed to you. Now, don't get stuck on the vision that you happen to begin with. Why? Because that vision, the one you start with, that vision may no longer be relevant tomorrow or next week or next month or even next year. And this is true whether you are leading through a time of crisis or adversity or not. So remember, you can have your vision, but you must always keep your knees bent as you breathe and live into and manifest your vision. Another thing to remember is this. Don't get attached to the particular way that your vision will manifest. In other words, be open to outcome. And like I said, keep your knees bent. Now, one of the many lessons I've learned from being a coach is that you have to be a guide, right? A guide on the side, not a sage on the stage. You listen more than you talk, right? And you have to see the people that you coach as highly capable human beings, as highly resourceful individuals who can access their own knowledge, their own resources as their awareness increases. You also have to see the folks that you coach as highly capable, I'm going to say mediums or bridge builders, who can take their newfound awareness and build on it as they confront themselves and others in the real world, in real time, in real relationships, right? In their families and in their organizations. Now, I often apply these lessons when I work with my consulting clients as well. Even though many of them say they want me because I'm an expert in this or that, what they really want, what they really value, is when I help them discover their own solutions, when I help them unpack their own knowledge, and when I help them tap into their own expertise, their own resourcefulness, their own genius and creativity. It all boils down to helping them find their own path, to their own vision of what's possible. Now, I want to share a little bit more about vision. Vision has all kinds of facets, all kinds of dimensions to it that we need to pay attention to. From a cultural perspective, we tend to talk about vision as if we can literally see something with our anatomical eyes. But in reality, what you usually see is pretty blurry. It's kind of foggy, actually, okay? And if you don't see it that way, you should be. You should be seeing fog. Because as I mentioned earlier, if what you see is really crystal clear to you, it's not a vision, it's not a dream, it's a goal. And there's nothing wrong with having goals, but just be clear that it's a goal and not a vision, right? Vision consists of perception, of insight, and foresight, and hindsight, and reflection, and revelation, and so much more, including respect, which means to look again, to see again, right? To see with new eyes, to see with a fresh perspective. And so I invite you to think about the various aspects of vision. Now, I go into great detail in Dare to Wear Your Soul on the Outside, into vision and to all the other aspects, the 7 promises that I mentioned earlier. So as you think about not only what's working you with regard to vision, I also want you to pay attention to what's working the people around you, nearby or far away, because the world really is at our fingertips, right? I mean, the world is just a click away. So pay attention to what's showing up for other people. Now, why might this be important, you might ask? Because these people are your potential collaborators, your potential amplifiers. They're people who can potentially be of service with you or to you. Or, maybe these are the people who can gather around you and partner with you right now. Who knows? So pay attention and know that if you have this creative fire that's working you, know that we are made not to walk alone. We were designed to walk together. We are social beings. We're made to be in relationship. So pay attention to those people who you can link elbows with and maybe even partner with along your journey to your vision. Now, another way of saying what I just said is don't try to take the vision, your vision, and do it all by yourself, right? That's a recipe for disaster. A recipe for heartache. Been there, done that. And so, as you begin to move in the direction of your dream, the direction of your vision, I invite you to ask yourself, who do I need to know? Who do I need to bring along with me? Who do I need to collaborate with or partner with? You know what? Another facet of vision also includes the dreams that we have at night. These are night dreams. Now, in the workplace, we don't often talk about these things, right? This kind of vision. But this is huge. It's very important. Why? Because in visioning, there is a huge element, a very big element of receptivity. That's right. Of being on the receiving side, not the casting side, but the receiving side of vision. Now, in Northern Hemisphere Western culture, now I'm generalizing here, so please forgive me, we typically think about vision as something that flows outward, right? That vision is something that pushes out and is external to to who you are. We talk about vision as something that is very penetrating, having a very masculine energetic. But another core quality that we sometimes miss is that vision can also flow from the outside in. It can also flow inwardly. Vision is also about receiving. So, if you're receiving vision, you are a receptor, right? You are a receptor, and your work is to gather and collect. You're not an outputter at this point. You are a receptor, a receiver, which is a more feminine energetic. It's an energetic that's probably more in tune with people who are very sensate, okay, relying on their five senses, so to speak, very sensate in terms of how they perceive and move through the world, how they understand the world, how they make sense of the world. This receiving energetic helps us tap into another aspect of vision, which is revelation. Revelation. Now, here's the good news. The archetype of the 21st century leader is, guess what? It is the archetype of the creative, the archetype of the visionary. Other names for this archetype is the archetype of artistry, or the artist, right? The archetype of the magi, the magician. Now, this archetype, by whatever name we call it, has been around since human beings have been around. And in times of great upheaval, great change or transition or transformation, humanity can actually tap into this pattern or archetype to shift the way we do the things we do, to shift how we show up as human beings. In fact, we can choose to show up as human beings, rather than as doing humans. Let me say that again. We can choose to show up as human beings rather than as doing humans. I love that. So again, this pattern in human behavior, the pattern of the visionary or the artist, the creative, is now available to all of us. It is available to all of us as leaders, as human beings who are now more open, more receptive, and more conscious of this amazing pattern in the collective, this amazing archetype. What's working me today is creative leadership. Specifically, leading with authenticity and artistry in our extraordinary times. These are surely what we call VUCA, V-U-C-A, VUCA times. Now, for those of you who might be new to that term, VUCA, what it stands for are times of volatility, that's what the V stands for, uncertainty, U, chaos, C, and A for ambiguity. Volatility, uncertainty, chaos, and ambiguity. Times where we experience wave after wave after wave of disruptive change. Wave after wave of what we know and what we believe to be true. Now, in times of VUCA, the old, what we are sure about, right, just begins to fall away, just begins to disintegrate. In this kind of world, what we know for sure is not the same old, same old. What we know for sure is that volatility, uncertainty, chaos, and ambiguity will continue to be the norm. What we don't know is what form or shape that norm will take, right? What form that disruptive change will take.